Alright, round 2, and we have another great hand. Burning Tree Emissary, Reckless Bushwhacker is kind of good enough by itself. 2 lands, perfect, and a 1-drop is also great. Our opponent mulligans to 5, and clicks through their first main phase, and then plays Goblin Guide. Obviously not the most ideal of starts. And here we draw another Burning Tree, which is going to be great. The only thing that could possibly foil our plans is Eidolon. And of course our opponent has Eidolon. So, our opponent mulled to 5, so we're still in good shape here. We could go... Eidolon is interesting when you're both aggro decks, because it's going to deal damage to both of you. So, it's kind of a math game. So we could go like Burning Tree, Reckless Bushwhacker, or Burning Tree, Reckless Bushwhacker, take a bunch of damage. But I think here I just want to play it safe and just plan on bolting the Eidolon on our opponent's turn, and then we can go completely nuts next turn. Turns out our opponent has another Eidolon, which is a bit of a issue. So we're obviously going to bolt in response and go ahead and bolt the original Eidolon as well. So here we're both at 14. So I could go Emissary, Bushwhacker. I would be at 10 from that. I probably should have went Emissary, Bushwhacker, attack with the Emissary, leave back the Bushwhacker. Would have been safe. But I just attack with Wild in the Cattle and hit our opponent in the face, and then Burning Tree into just Wild in the Cattle. So we don't want to expose ourselves to just losing to a couple of burn spells. And now, like, our opponent couldn't attack there, and now we drew a Target's Command and really are making it super awkward for them. So now we can cast our cards freely. Of course, the old Burning Tree Bushwhacker post-combat. We both made this post-combat plays. So here we could die to Bolt and Boros Charm, of course, but our opponent doesn't not have it. So kind of a strange Eidolon games. Not really what you're normally doing in Magic. So kind of interesting. To play optimally, I think it requires like a lot of math. So sideboarding, we really don't have that much we want against burn. Realistically, just Spellskite is our one card that we want, and even then we don't really care too much about Spellskite that much. So Manamorphose for Spellskite seems perfectly fine. Destructive Revelry hits Eidolon, but who really cares? We obviously don't want Dismember. Obviously don't want Mutagenic Growth or Thoughtseize. Everything on our sideboard does us damage or is completely irrelevant. So basically not really making many changes here. Alright, on the draw again with, a great hand. This would crush anything except Red Eidolon, obviously. So our opponent, Swift Spearing, and then we're just going to get Basic Forest to try and preserve our life total, and Renegade. Opponent does have Eidolon, so the game continues. So once again, we are trying to find the right mix of not dying to our opponent's burn while pressuring our opponent's life total. So we go with Herbalist, Burning Tree, into Bushwhacker. And so we took a lot of damage, but now we're going to be far ahead on board. So the nice thing is we also have a Tarkus command to do a bit of burst of our own if our opponent ever falls into that range or the Eidolon disappears. So here we definitely don't want to take any damage from creatures for free. So we're going to take a chunk out of our opponent's life total, put us both at 9. So here obviously Mountain Triple Bolt kills us. Turns out our opponent didn't do anything. So now, once again, we've sort of invested our life total into a much better board position, and now we're able to really just send with everything. And a Tarkus command. So our opponent is forced to bolt our creature now or die, which also does damage to them. And us. Again, this is slightly risky. The nice thing is it puts our opponent down to 1 life, so a sack land is not going to do anything for our opponent. So they're going to need to either have bolt to our face right now, followed by more bolts, or draw a basic mountain, which they do not do, and we managed to kind of awkwardly navigate the Eidolon. Always kind of weird because you feel like I didn't cast this card because just to save 2 life, but kind of interesting games with the Eidolon mirrors or Eidolon versus creatures.